The night was soft around the small town of Havenridge. The sky dipped in a velvet blue that stretched endlessly over rooftops, chimneys, and the slow curving river that split the town in two. Street lamps flickered with warm golden halos, and for a moment the whole world seemed to breathe in peace. But inside the small house at the end of Willow Lane, a different kind of quiet settled, one filled with memories, loss, and a story waiting to be told. Mara sat curled beside her window, her knees drawn to her chest, her breath fogging the glass in short, uneven bursts. In her hands lay a small wooden box, its edges smooth from years of being held, opened, closed, and hidden away. She traced her thumb along the lid, hesitating. The box held a piece of her heart, a piece she wasn't sure she was ready to touch again. But tonight felt different. Tonight felt heavier. She opened the box. Inside, resting like a fragile ghost of the past, was a paper crane. The little bird was worn at the wings, the folds soft and rounded from being held too often. Faded watercolor blue and gold stained its left wing. Mira lifted it gently, holding it in her palms as if it were breathing. This crane was the last thing her mother had made for her. A tremble ran through her fingers. Tears stung the back of her eyes, gathering before she could push them away. She blinked hard, but they slipped down her cheeks anyway. She pressed the crane to her heart. Her mother's voice echoed in the corners of her mind. Paper crane carries the wish you're too afraid to say out loud. Mara closed her eyes. Down the hallway, she heard her father's footsteps, slow, tired, dragging slightly as he made his usual rounds of closing windows and checking door locks. He tried to hold the house together after the loss, tried to fill it with noise and warmth. But the walls still felt empty. And the silence still found her. Every night, especially this one, a soft knock tapped against her window. Myra startled. Her heart tripped before she realized who it was. Jace. He stood outside, his dark hair mussed from the wind, his jacket too big for his frame. He cupped a hand over his eyes to peer inside, his breath fogging the glass as he leaned close. She pushed the window open. "Jace, you scared me," she whispered. "You scared me first," he muttered back. "Your light was still on. I wanted to check on you." Then his gaze dropped to the crane in her hand. His voice softened. "You're thinking about her again." Mira looked away. Jace climbed inside just like he'd done since they were kids. He landed quietly, gently, as if the room itself needed kindness. "You don't have to hide from me," he said. "I'm not hiding." He gave her the kind of look that said he didn't believe her. She sighed. "Okay, maybe a little." Jace sat beside her. "She'd be glad you kept it." Myra shook her head. "She'd tell me to let go." "No," Jace said. "She'd tell you to heal." A fragile breath escaped her. She wasn't expecting those words not said the way he said them. Not with that softness. Outside, fireflies blinked awake. Dozens of them glowing brighter than usual. They hovered in strange formations, swirling like tiny lanterns caught in a slow-moving dance. Jace noticed. "That's weird. They're never this many." Mira followed his gaze, and suddenly she remembered her mother's stories. Stories of a hidden realm called the Night Garden. A place that appeared only to those who carried a true wish in their heart. Fireflies were its guides. She whispered, barely audible. "The Night Garden." Jace looked at her. "Myra?" She held up the crane. "My mom said the garden calls when you're ready to face the truth you've been running from." The fireflies drifted toward the woods, forming a glowing path. A path meant for her. Jace grabbed her wrist gently. "You don't have to follow it." Myra swallowed. "I think I do." She slipped the crane into her pocket, stood, and reached for her jacket. She trembled from fear, from hope, from something she couldn't yet name. Jace stepped in front of her, eyes steady. "Then I'm coming with you." "You don't have to. I'm not letting you walk into something unknown alone." Her chest tightened, but this time with warmth. They climbed out the window into the cool night grass. The fireflies floated ahead of them, forming a shimmering trail toward the dark line of trees. The air felt charged, humming subtly. Jace walked beside her, brushing her hand with his. "Are you scared?" "Yes," Myra whispered. But I think this is the first step I'm supposed to take. And I'm right here. They reached an archway of branches at the forest's edge, perfectly curved, impossibly natural. A soft light pulsed beyond it. Myra touched the paper crane through her pocket. I'm ready, she breathed. Together they stepped through. And the world shifted. The air warmed. Colors deepened. A strange calm wrapped around Myra like an embrace. Something inside her, something broken, began to mend. This was the beginning of the journey. Asterisk. The forest shimmered as Myra and Jace stepped deeper into the glowing path, the fireflies lighting the way like drifting stars. The air felt different here, warmer, softer, almost alive. Each footstep sent gentle ripples of light across the mossy ground, and the branches overhead seemed to sway with a rhythm too smooth to be from the wind alone. Myra's heart thudded, not in fear this time, but in anticipation. The night garden was real. And it was welcoming her. Jaca watched her closely as they walked. How does it feel? He asked quietly. Myra struggled to find the words. Like something I lost is recognizing me again? She touched the paper crane in her pocket, feeling its familiar creases. Like she's here somehow. Jace didn't say anything, but his presence beside her felt steady like a hand resting on her back, guiding without pushing. As they reached a clearing, Myra's breath caught. Before them stood a massive tree, its trunk wide as a house, its bark glowing with soft silver patterns that pulsed gently like a heartbeat. It wasn't just a tree. It was alive in a way no ordinary tree could be. The heartwood tree, Myra whispered. She didn't remember this story clearly, but the name rose inside her like a word she had once known but forgotten. You've seen it before, Jace said softly. In the stories, she murmured. My mom used to draw it for me. She stepped closer, trembling slightly. As she raised her hand to touch the bark, the silver patterns brightened as if recognizing her. A low hum rose from the ground, a deep, warm sound that vibrated through her chest. Then a voice, faint, distant, like wind passing between memories, spoke inside her mind. Welcome, Myra. She gasped and stumbled backward. Jace caught her shoulders. What happened? I heard something, she said, breath shaking. A voice. It said my name. Jace looked at the tree, then at Myra. Maybe the garden really does know who you are. Myra's heart felt heavy, but not with fear. With truth. I think it knew my mother too, she whispered. A warm breeze drifted through the clearing, wrapping around her gently like an embrace. Suddenly the ground beneath the tree shifted, glowing brighter, forming a circle of light. Something was rising from the roots, a small object wrapped in vines of pale gold. The vines unraveled slowly, revealing a locket. Myra's breath hitched. No, she whispered. It can't be. Jace stepped forward. Do you recognize it? It's hers, Myra said, tears already gathering. My mother's locket. She wore it every day. She reached out with trembling fingers, lifting it gently. The metal was warm, as if it had been waiting for her. When she opened it, she found not a picture, but a folded piece of paper. Hand shaking, she opened the note. When the pain becomes too heavy, follow the fireflies. There you will find what I could not tell you in time. Love, Mom. Myra pressed a hand over her mouth as tears spilled over her cheeks. She knew, she whispered. She knew she wouldn't be here. Jace wrapped an arm around her shoulders gently. Myra leaned into him, trembling not from fear, but from the weight of a love that had traveled farther than she thought possible. As she cried softly, the heartwood tree glowed even brighter, filling the clearing with gentle light. Jace held her until her breathing steadied. Finally, he whispered, There's more she wanted you to find. This is just the beginning. Myra nodded, wiping her face. I think she left something here for me. Something I'm supposed to understand. The ground trembled again, but this time the light from the roots stretched outward, forming a soft, winding path deeper into the garden. A new trail, a new truth. Myra looked at Jace. Will you come with me? He smiled softly. Always. Hand in hand, they followed the glowing path, guided once again by fireflies drifting like tiny lanterns ahead of them. As they walked, the trees began to change, growing taller, their leaves shimmering in moon-silver hues. Strange flowers opened slowly as Myra passed, releasing scents that felt like warm memories. The smell of her mother's scarf, the sweetness of her childhood home. Home, the faint trace of her mother's perfume. The garden wasn't just alive. It remembered her. They reached a small bridge of curved branches woven so seamlessly, it looked like it had grown there on purpose. Beneath it ran a stream glowing with faint light. Jace knelt. Look. The water didn't reflect their faces. Instead, it showed Myra's childhood, her running through tall grass, laughing as her mother chased her. Her curled up in her mother's arms during thunderstorms. Her mother teaching her how to fold paper cranes. Myra's chest ached. She loved you so much, Jace whispered. Myra touched the water. The image rippled, then shifted. Her mother sat on their porch, writing something quick, urgent, eyes bright with determination. Jace frowned. What is she writing? The image zoomed closer. A letter. To Mara. Mara gasped. That letter, I never got it. The water shimmered. Asterisk. Then the image shifted again to their old house. Myra's mother tucked the letter into a small wooden chest, locking it. She hid it in a place Myra recognized instantly, beneath the floorboard of her old bedroom. Myra staggered backward. Jace, the letter's real. Jace stood. Then we'll find it. Before Myra could respond, the ground glowed brighter, forming another path, one that pulsed with a gentle urgency. Myra felt a pull in her chest. A calling. She turned to Jace. She's guiding us. She wants me to finish this. Jace nodded. Then let's go. As they stepped onto the new path, Myra felt the weight of grief inside her shift, not disappearing, but softening, because she wasn't walking through the pain alone. She was walking toward the truth, toward healing, toward her mother's final message, and maybe toward a part of herself she thought was lost forever. The journey continued. Asterisk. Myra and Jace continued along the glowing path, the fireflies guiding them deeper into the heart of the night garden. Each step seemed to carry them further away from the world they had known and closer to a place where the past, present, and dreams mingled freely. The air was rich with the scent of night-blooming flowers, each petal releasing a perfume that felt almost alive, stirring forgotten emotions within Myra. The deeper they walked, the more the garden seemed to respond to their presence. Trees leaned slightly toward them, their leaves whispering secrets in the gentle wind. The soft hum that had accompanied their steps grew into a symphony of quiet music, a melody composed of rustling branches, distant waters, and the faint chimes of unseen bells. Myra closed her eyes for a moment, allowing the sounds to wash over her. Each note felt like a balm for her tired heart. Do you hear it? Jace whispered, his voice reverent. It's like the garden is speaking. I feel it, Myra said softly. Like it knows everything I've been carrying. They came to a clearing where a small pond reflected the shimmering sky above. The water was impossibly clear, and as Myra approached, she saw not her own reflection, but images from her childhood, memories she had long suppressed. She saw herself laughing under her mother's watchful gaze, the gentle folding of paper cranes, the warmth of a hug that had seemed eternal. Tears pricked her eyes, and she knelt to touch the water. The surface rippled, distorting the images, but they never vanished. She realized the garden was showing her moments of joy she had buried beneath grief. Jace knelt beside her. She loved you so much, he said quietly. Myra nodded, her chest tightening. I know, I needed to see it again. The water shifted, revealing a narrow bridge made of intertwining vines and branches. It led to a small island at the center of the pond. On the island stood a pedestal, and upon it, a glowing orb that pulsed with a light so soft it seemed to breathe. That must be it, Myra whispered. The next part of her message. They crossed the bridge carefully, the vines responding to their weight, supporting them as if the garden itself guided their steps. When they reached the island, Mira approached the orb. The light was warm, radiating a calm energy that seeped into her very bones. A voice, faint but clear, resonated in her mind. Myra, you've come far. But there is more to learn. More to forgive. More to understand. She swallowed, her heart pounding. Mom, yes, my love. Your journey isn't just about finding me. It's about finding yourself. About learning to carry love without being burdened by loss. Mira's fingers hovered over the orb. She felt a gentle pull, as if the light was inviting her to open her heart fully. Jace placed a hand on her shoulder. You can do this, he said softly. Taking a deep breath, Mira touched the orb. Light flooded through her, warm and steady, filling every corner of her being. Images flashed before her eyes, moments of fear, sorrow, regret, and longing, all intertwining with memories of love, laughter, and comfort. She felt every emotion, every memory, every heartbeat, as if the garden had collected them just for her. When the light finally softened, Mira opened her eyes. The pond now reflected not just memories, but possibilities. She saw herself growing, learning, and embracing life with all its imperfections. She saw herself smiling freely, unburdened, carrying her mother's love as a guiding light rather than a weight. A tear slipped down her cheek, but it was not a tear of pain. It was a tear of release, of understanding, of hope. The orb's light dimmed, settling into a gentle glow that mirrored Mira's own heartbeat. She realized she felt lighter, freer, as if a long-held sorrow had been transformed into something sustaining. Jace smiled at her. You're glowing. Mira laughed softly, the sound mingling with the garden's gentle hum. I feel like I can breathe again. The garden seemed to respond, the trees swaying gently as if in approval. The fireflies rose into the sky, forming patterns that resembled stars, guiding them toward a path that glimmered faintly in the distance. Mira and Jace followed, the path winding through towering trees whose leaves glowed with moonlight. Each step was steady, confident. Mira felt a newfound strength within her, a quiet assurance that whatever lay ahead, she could face it. They came to a clearing where a small cabin stood. It was familiar yet different, as if shaped from her own memories and dreams. The door creaked open, inviting them inside. Within, the room was filled with soft light and the faint scent of her mother's perfume. On a small table lay a letter, addressed to Mira. Her hands trembled as she picked it up, feeling the weight of her mother's love in every line, every word. She read aloud softly, the words carrying warmth and wisdom, guidance for life, and a gentle reminder that love transcends time and space. Jace listened quietly, standing beside her, a steady presence. When she finished, Mira folded the letter and held it close. I finally understand, she whispered. Jace smiled. You've carried her love this far. Now it's time to let it guide you forward. Mira nodded, feeling a sense of peace settle deep inside her. The garden's light seemed to embrace them, warm and steady, promising that she was never truly alone. As they stepped outside, the night garden shimmered with life around them. The fireflies rose in a dance that mirrored the rhythm of her heart. The trees swayed gently, and the stars above shone brighter than ever. Mira knew that this journey was not just about following a path, it was about embracing every memory, every emotion, every moment that had shaped her, and carrying it forward with love and courage. She looked at Jace, gratitude shining in her eyes. Thank you for being here, she said. He took her hand, squeezing it gently. Always. Together, they walked along the glowing path, ready to face whatever lay ahead, carrying the light of the night garden and the love of a mother's heart with them. Mira felt a quiet certainty that no matter what challenges came, she had found her strength, her peace, and the understanding that even in loss, love never truly fades. The night garden stretched endlessly before them, a living testament to memory, hope, and the beauty of letting go while holding on to what truly matters. And in that luminous space, Mira realized that the journey had only just begun. But she was ready for it, with courage in her heart and love guiding every step. The night garden glowed softly as Mira and Jace stepped further along its winding paths. The fireflies hovered above their heads, casting a delicate luminescence that mirrored the stars in the night sky. Every leaf, every petal seemed to exhale calm, as though the garden itself were breathing alongside them. Myra felt a serenity she had never known. A quiet that was neither empty nor lonely, but full of gentle possibility. Ahead, the path widened into a circular clearing where the ground shimmered with tiny points of light, each one pulsating like a heartbeat. In the center stood a tree unlike any other they had seen, the celestial tree. Its trunk spiraled upward, silver veins glimmering along its bark, branches reaching into the sky like tendrils of moonlight. Around its base, delicate flowers glowed softly, releasing a fragrance that seemed to stir deep memories within Myra. She walked closer, feeling a pull that was both emotional and physical. Her hand brushed against the tree, and the surface pulsed under her touch, resonating with a warmth that spread through her chest. The celestial tree seemed alive, aware, welcoming. A soft hum filled the air, rising from the roots of the tree and flowing into the canopy above. Myra's eyes misted. She could feel her mother's presence, not as a ghost, but as the enduring essence of love, courage, and guidance. The night garden had brought her here, not just to discover secrets, but to reclaim a part of herself she had long thought lost. Jace stood beside her, hand in hers, offering silent reassurance. "We're here together," he said softly. She nodded, tears slipping down her cheeks, a mixture of relief, joy, and release. "I can feel her," she whispered. "I can really feel her." The celestial tree's glow intensified, and from its branches, small orbs of light drifted downward. Each orb carried a memory, a message, a moment of love. One floated to Mira, and when she touched it, she was flooded with images of her mother folding paper cranes, reading bedtime stories, and singing lullabies. The memories were vivid, full of warmth, laughter, and the tenderness she had yearned for. Mira realized the garden wasn't merely showing her the past, it was teaching her to carry it forward. To embrace her mother's love without letting grief weigh her down. To allow those memories to guide her, not hinder her. "This is what she wanted," Mira whispered. "For me to understand that love never leaves." Jay squeezed her hand. "You've carried it this far. Now it's time to let it light your way." The orbs began to rise, forming a luminous path leading to a gentle slope where a small, crystal-clear stream trickled. The water shimmered with an ethereal glow, reflecting not just the stars above, but also Mira's deepest hopes and dreams. The stream's soft murmur spoke of calm, healing, and the promise of new beginnings. Mira knelt beside it, cupping the glowing water in her hands. Each drop felt like a whisper from her mother, affirming her strength, her worth, and the beauty of living fully despite loss. She drank deeply from the stream, feeling a connection that went beyond the tangible, a bond of love that transcended life and death. Jace joined her, placing a hand over hers. "You're ready," he said. "Ready to step into the world with her love inside you." She nodded, the weight of sorrow lifting gently from her shoulders. Mira felt lighter, freer, as if the garden itself had untangled the knots of her heart. The celestial tree's glow softened, its light now steady and comforting, a permanent reminder of the sanctuary of healing. As they rose and followed the path, the garden seemed to respond to their presence. Flowers swayed, the wind whispered encouragingly, and the fireflies danced in intricate patterns, as though celebrating her transformation. Mira realized that every element of this magical realm reflected not just nature, but the inner landscape of her heart. They reached a small glade where a stone bench waited, bathed in moonlight. Mira sat, feeling the night's calm settle deep within her. Jace knelt beside her, his gaze kind and unwavering. "It's beautiful here," he murmured. Myra smiled, eyes bright with tears that were now of joy. "It's not just the garden. It's the peace I've found. The love I carry. It's real." The celestial tree's branches arched over them, providing a canopy that felt like a protective embrace. The fireflies hovered, forming shapes that resembled the paper cranes her mother had once folded, weaving a tapestry of light and memory around them. Mira understood then that the night garden had given her not only a sanctuary, but a guide, a way to navigate the future with courage, compassion, and hope. Hours seemed to pass in moments, yet time felt irrelevant. The garden existed outside of ordinary measurement, a timeless space where the heart could heal. Myra leaned back on the bench, resting her head against the soft grass, feeling the night air wrap around her. Jay stayed close, their hands intertwined, offering comfort and companionship. Finally, the first light of dawn began to filter through the trees. The night garden's glow softened, preparing to fade until nightfall. Mira stood, feeling whole in a way she hadn't known in years. The journey through grief, love, and memory had culminated here, and she felt ready to carry that light back into the world beyond the garden. Jay stepped beside her. "Are you ready to go home?" Mira nodded, holding the paper crane close to her heart. "Yes, but I'll carry this place with me, always." Hand in hand, they walked back along the path, the fireflies guiding them to the edge of the garden. As they stepped through the archway that marked the threshold, Mira looked back one last time. The celestial tree stood tall, its branches waving softly, a silent promise of love, healing, and the enduring presence of those we cherish. When they emerged, the world felt different, not because it had changed, but because Mira had. She carried within her a strength born of love, a light that could guide her through any darkness. The night garden had not only revealed her mother's messages, but had also revealed the depths of her own heart. Mira and Jace returned to their small town of Havenridge. But the magic of the garden remained alive in every step, every breath, every memory. She knew that grief would still come, but it no longer had power to overwhelm her. Love had transformed it into something sustaining. As she lay down that night, Myra pressed the paper crane to her chest, feeling the warmth of the night garden pulse softly within her. She closed her eyes, a gentle smile on her lips. And for the first time in a long time she slept fully, completely, embraced by the eternal light of love, memory, and hope. The journey of the night garden had ended, but the journey of her heart, guided by love and courage, was only beginning. Weeks had passed since Myra and Jace returned from the night garden. But the lessons and serenity of that place lingered in every step she took. The small town of Havenridge felt different now. It seemed less ordinary, more alive. Each breeze through the streets carried faint whispers of the garden, each sunlight beam a gentle reminder of the love and guidance she had received. Mira had begun to notice subtle changes within herself. She woke with a sense of purpose she hadn't felt in years, her heart lighter, her thoughts clearer. She found herself pausing in ordinary moments, listening to the wind, observing the play of light across the river, smiling at the simplest joys, and each time, she felt the night garden's presence guiding her, reminding her of the strength she carried. One evening, as the sky deepened into twilight, Myra felt a familiar tug at her heart. Not a longing for the past, but a gentle pull towards something unknown, something calling her to step beyond what she knew. Jace noticed the subtle tension in her posture as they walked along Willow Lane. "You're thinking about it again," he said, a soft smile playing on his lips. Mira nodded, a mixture of excitement and apprehension in her eyes. "I feel drawn to it. The garden isn't finished with me yet. There's more I need to see, more I need to understand." Jace's expression turned serious but supportive. "Then we'll go together. Whatever awaits, we'll face it." That night, under the pale moonlight, they followed a familiar pattern of fireflies emerging along the edge of the woods. Their glow was brighter, more numerous, forming intricate trails leading deeper than before. Myra's heart raced, anticipation mingling with the calm she now recognized from the garden. As they entered the path, the air shimmered with a magical energy. Trees stretched taller than ever, their leaves glowing in iridescent colors, and the soft hum of the night garden's life vibrated beneath Myra's feet. The journey was no longer simply about rediscovering her mother's messages. It was about exploring the depths of her own courage, understanding, and capacity for love. The path led them to a new clearing, one Mira did not remember from their previous journey. Here, the ground was covered with luminous flowers that emitted a soothing light, their petals shifting colors like the tide of the ocean. In the center of the clearing was a pool of water, its surface perfectly still, reflecting the night sky as if it were a mirror to another world. Mira approached, drawn to the pool. When she looked into it, she did not see her reflection. Instead, images of her future appeared, moments of joy, laughter, challenges, and triumphs, all interwoven with threads of love and memory. The visions moved fluidly, teaching her that life was not linear, but a tapestry of experiences, each thread necessary and valuable. "It's beautiful," Jace whispered beside her. Awe in his voice. Mira nodded, feeling tears well up, not of sorrow, but of profound gratitude. "I understand now. Life isn't just about holding on to the past. It's about carrying love forward, letting it shape every step." As she spoke, the pool shimmered, and a figure emerged, a representation of her mother, formed from light and memory. The figure spoke without words, filling Myra's mind with emotions and guidance. She felt her mother's encouragement, pride, and unwavering love envelop her, reinforcing the lessons Mira had learned in the garden. The vision shifted, showing Mira the interconnectedness of all things. She saw herself reaching out to others, sharing kindness and empathy, realizing that love could heal not just herself but those around her. The night garden was not a place to escape to. It was a reflection of the potential within her heart, guiding her toward the fullest expression of her life. Jace gently took her hand. "I see it too," he said, his voice steady. "The garden's magic isn't just here. It's within us." Mira smiled, the truth of his words resonating deeply. "Yes, and it will always be a part of me." As they left the clearing, the fireflies formed an archway of light, marking the transition back to the familiar woods. Myra felt a renewed sense of purpose, a clarity that had been absent for too long. Each step was deliberate, imbued with the wisdom of the garden and the love she carried. When they finally emerged from the forest, the first rays of dawn were breaking across Havenridge. Mira looked back, a deep sense of reverence and gratitude filling her heart. She knew that while the night garden would always be there, she no longer needed to physically return to access its guidance. The lessons, the love, and the strength were now an intrinsic part of her being. Jay squeezed her hand. "Where to now?" Myra laughed softly, feeling the freedom of the morning around them. "Forward. Wherever life takes us forward." With hearts light and spirits intertwined, they walked back into their world, carrying the eternal light of the night garden within them, a beacon of hope, love, and the unending journey of the heart. The early morning sun bathed Havenridge in a gentle gold, casting long shadows over the quiet streets. Mira walked beside Jace, her hand clasped around his, the warmth of their connection grounding her as they made their way toward the familiar paths of home. Even in the ordinary world, the magic of the night garden remained within her, a quiet, constant presence that shaped her every step. As they reached the edge of the town park, Myra paused to observe a small cluster of children playing. Their laughter reminded her of herself at that age, innocent, carefree, and full of curiosity. She felt a swell of emotion, recognizing the cycles of life and the importance of guiding others with the love she had learned to embrace. The night garden had taught her that while the journey of grief and healing was deeply personal, it could also ripple outward, touching the lives of those around her. Jace nudged her gently. "You're thinking," he said with a knowing smile. Mira laughed softly, a sound of pure relief. "I'm thinking about how much I've changed. About how much more I see now, not just in the world, but in myself." He nodded. "You carry it with you everywhere. The garden isn't just a place anymore, it's in your heart." They continued walking, the streets slowly coming to life with morning routines. Shopkeepers opened doors, birds sang in the trees, and a soft breeze carried the scent of blooming flowers. Mira felt deeply connected to everything around her, aware that the magic she had experienced was not separate from life but woven into every moment. Later that day, Myra returned to the little house at the end of Willow Lane. Inside, she retrieved the wooden box that had first held the paper crane, her fingers brushing over the worn edges. She opened it and took out the crane, now a symbol not just of loss, but of love, resilience, and hope. She held it close, feeling the warmth of her mother's guidance once again. Myra's thoughts turned to the future. She imagined using the lessons of the night garden in her daily life, sharing kindness, understanding, and love with those who needed it, guiding them toward healing just as she had been guided. She realized that her mother's messages were more than personal. They were universal. A blueprint for living fully despite the shadows of grief. That evening, Myra and Jace returned to the forest's edge, following the path to a small hill overlooking the town. The sun set, painting the sky with hues of pink, lavender, and gold. Fireflies began to emerge, dancing in the twilight, their glow reflecting in Myra's eyes. The night garden's presence was tangible here, not as a destination but as a living, breathing force that had become a part of her being. Myra took a deep breath. Jace, I think I understand now. The garden isn't just about remembering or holding on, it's about carrying love forward, letting it guide every step, every choice. It's about embracing life fully, with courage and compassion. Jace squeezed her hand. And you're doing it. Already. They sat together in silence, watching the fireflies weave their intricate patterns. Myra felt a deep sense of gratitude, not just for the garden or for her mother, but for the journey itself. Every tear, every moment of doubt, every step of courage had led her to this clarity. As darkness settled, the glow of the night garden intertwined with the emerging stars. Myra realized that the garden's lessons were endless, and that she would continue to grow, to learn, and to love more deeply with each passing day. It was not a place one simply left behind. It was a source of strength she could draw upon whenever life's challenges arose. Night after night, Myra returned to the simple rituals she had once overlooked, tending to the small garden outside her home, writing in her journal, folding paper cranes, and sharing stories with Jace. Each act became a thread connecting her to the night garden, ensuring that its magic and lessons were embedded in her everyday life. One evening, as they sat under the starlit sky, Myra reflected on the journey. She realized that grief had been transformed into wisdom, love had become a guiding light, and the night garden had become a mirror of her heart's potential. She knew that while her mother's physical presence was gone, the essence of her love would remain eternal, shaping Myra's actions, choices, and the way she touched others. Jace leaned against her shoulder. Are you ever afraid the garden might disappear? He asked softly. Myra shook her head. No, the garden is part of me now. And as long as I carry its lessons, its light, and its love, it will never truly leave. A gentle breeze rustled the leaves above, carrying the faint glow of fireflies that seemed to whisper reassurance. Myra smiled, feeling complete in a way she hadn't thought possible. She understood that life would continue to bring challenges, but the strength, compassion, and love cultivated through the night garden would guide her. Always. As dawn approached, Myra and Jace stood together, looking out over Havenridge. The town was quiet, but alive with the promise of new beginnings. Myra felt the weight of the past lift completely, replaced by a sense of purpose and serenity. She knew that the journey of healing was ongoing, but she was ready to face it with courage and a heart full of love. With the first light of day, Myra whispered a quiet promise to herself and to her mother: to live fully, to love deeply, and to carry the magic of the night garden wherever life led her. And in that moment she felt a profound peace, knowing that the journey of the heart was eternal, and that love would always light the path forward.